Summertime, oh sweet and glorious summertime. A few short months, for me, which I crammed full of traveling, nannying, and lounging by the pool with a good book in hand. From awaiting the end of a thrilling mystery novel to indulging myself in The Great Gatsby for 100th time, I find nothing better to beat the dog days of summer than a captivating book. So when the two girls I nanny, Lily and Brooke, exhibited signs of boredom this past summer, we hopped in my car and headed to the local Mid-Continent Library. I soon discovered that Lily and Brooke did not share my same level of enthusiasm regarding reading. Rather, they displayed more concern for the amount of screen time they would receive when we returned home. Determined to instill a true love of reading within the 7 and 9-year-old, I marched up to the nearest librarian and inquired a suggestion for a series of books to read during the summer with the girls. Delighted to help, the knowledgeable librarian handed me a relatively short chapter book titled Just Grace. Without skimming the pages, I felt drawn to this book, with its light green cover adorned with whimsical flowers, and in the center, a drawing of a little girl displaying a smirk on her face and cat in hand. At that moment, I knew these series of books would change Lily and Brooke's perception of reading eternally. Summer proceeded, as did our progress into the Just Grace series. We spent hours relishing in the humor and wittiness presented throughout the pages, only pausing our reading to let out a laugh. I found these comical books comparable to those that I read as a child, such as Junie B. Jones and Judy Moody, all aimed to entertain readers by providing independent and spunky main characters, farce comments, and most importantly, laughable situations. Since the Just Grace series is not as profoundly acclaimed as the other two, I will offer some insight. Written and illustrated by Charisse Merciel Harper, the Just Grace series follows the main character Grace through her year in 3rd grade. The books are written from Grace's perspective in a narrative diary format, and Grace starts each entry with an amusing title that summarizes her comments, such as, "Liar, liar, I wish your pants were on fire," or one of my favorites, "If you hear some strange noises out your window, you should probably look and see what it is." Aside from expressing her mischievous ways with words, Grace offers visual representations of her 3rd grade angst through humorous sketches and comic strips. If you must know one thing about Grace, it is that she sort of has a teeny tiny superpower. Not one that involves flying, lifting trains, or X-ray vision, but the power to tell when someone is unhappy. Although she embraces her superpower and has favorable intentions, Grace often finds herself in trouble when intervening and meddling in other people's business. An array of supporting characters appear throughout the series, such as her 3rd grade teacher, Miss Lewis, who Grace blames for her unfortunate name in the classroom, Just Grace, when Grace ever so cleverly tried to distinguish herself from the other 3 Graces in the class. Besides emphasizing her relationships at school, the books include her family, which consists of her mother, who makes the best superhero syrupy and buttery French toast, and caring father. Living in her basement is an eccentric French stewardess named Augustine Dupree. Grace finds a friend in the French woman because she is the best listener and enjoys the French sighs that Augustine often exerts. Other than Miss Dupree, Grace spends time with Mimi, her next-door neighbor and best friend. Grace F., otherwise known as Big Meanie, and Sammy Stringer, a disgusting boy that always has pieces of food in his teeth, are not friends of Grace. Initially. However, as the series develops, they play important roles in Grace's many superhero adventures. Choosing a favorite Just Grace book is like choosing a dessert at a restaurant. Almost impossible. If required to select the most cherished novel of mine, I would respond with Just Grace Walks the Dog. In this book, Grace is back at it with her spunky fireball personality when she tries to convince her parents to let her get a pet dog. Persistent and creative in nature, Grace employs her best friend Mimi, and they construct a cardboard dog to prove to her parents that she is responsible and dependent enough to take care of a real animal. The girls I nannied adored this book and drew inspiration from it, as they wanted a pet dog of their own. Just as Grace did, Lily and Brooke went through the process of creating a fabricated puppy, attempting to take the creation on walks, supply food, and offer an abundance of cuddles. Although the arrangement did not convince their parents to buy the real thing, I took delight in the fact a piece of literature sparked such an act of creativity and enjoyment. Charisse Merciel Harper not only connects with her readers through the captivating books she composes, but also created a website dedicated to the Just Grace series. Curious in nature, the girls I nannied decided to browse the site where they found a superhero quiz that determines if you share Grace's power of empathy or another important heroic quality. Additionally, an audio interview with Grace herself is provided for true fans of the series to enjoy. Hopefully, Harper's dedication to her writing will pay off with an opportunity to turn the books into a movie which capture Grace's true wittiness and sense of adventure. Without the Just Grace series, a summer of cherishing the simplistic nature of a good book stationed poolside would have been replaced with hours of computer games and cartoons spent indoors. Thanks to one trip to the library and a wise librarian, I introduced Lily and Brooke to the humor, delight, and entertainment in which books offer. Just Grace will always hold a special place in my heart due to the countless memories of laughs I shared with the girls about Grace's sassy comments and superhero adventures. I hope to one day share the comical relief of the Just Grace series with my own children, as I am sure they will giggle hearing about Grace's disgust with Sammy Stringer and his obsession with lion poop.